Hello everyone, my name's Connor, and I'm a 20-year-old American passionate about everything languages and travel. I've been studying Italian for the past 4 years, and in that time have had the chance to visit Italy twice. Today, I'm going to be talking about the biggest culture shocks that I experienced on those trips. So without further ado, let's get started. The first big culture shock that I experienced in Italy is a tremendous amount of regional differences in the country. Normally, as Americans, when we think about Italy, we think about stereotypes like eating pizza and spaghetti, the mafia, and people being really loud and having big families. In reality, a lot of these American stereotypes are more so stereotypes of southern Italy, since the Italian South is where most of the Italian immigrants to America came from. If you dive deeper into Italy, you'll find that there's tons of variety from region to region. Taking food as an example, pizza is most closely associated with Naples, while carbonara pasta is associated with Rome, and cannoli are associated with Sicily. Funnily enough, Italians themselves stereotype people coming from other regions. For example, Southern Italians might stereotype Northerners as being cold workaholics, whereas Northern Italians may jokingly stereotype Southerners as being dishonest and lazy. One YouTube channel that satirizes these Italian regional stereotypes is the Naples-based Casa Sorace, which I'd encourage you to go take a look at. The second biggest culture shock that I experienced in Italy was the high quality of public transportation. In the United States, outside of a few cities like Chicago or New York, public transportation is really lacking and most people have to rely on cars to get around. Pretty much all medium and large size Italian cities have bus systems to get from place to place within the city. When traveling from city to city or region to region, there's tons of bus and train routes available. This makes it really easy to plan out day trips when you're visiting Italy and see all the neighboring sites that you want to see. But maybe the craziest thing about Italian transportation for Americans like me is the fact that ride sharing apps like Uber and Lyft are rarely used in Italy. Uber only operates in a handful of cities, and furthermore, due to Italian licensing regulations, Uber Black is the only type of service available. This means that, on the whole, taxis are still the cheapest and most readily available vehicle for hire service. The next thing that shocked me about Italy was the driving. Normally in America, we stereotype Italians as crazy drivers, and I found this to be absolutely true. One time, I was in a friend's car in rural Puglia and nearly fainted when I watched him switch lanes to speed past the van, avoiding a collision with oncoming traffic by not even a second. If you're looking for a good way to learn Italian swear words, all you need to do is sit by a busy intersection for 15 minutes and you'll hear every Italian swear word in the dictionary and then some. Another thing that shocked me about Italy is the prevalence of bottled water. In America, if you go to a restaurant, you'll be served free tap water. Not only is this water free, but in most restaurants, waiters will survey the room looking for any glasses that are not full to the brim with water and then refill them with their pitchers. Now, if you're anything like me and sip water constantly whenever you go out to eat, this leads to an internal dilemma as you wonder what to say to the waiter when they come to your table for the fifth time in 10 minutes to refill your water glass. In Italy, a restaurant would never serve you tap water, or acqua di rubinetto as it's called, and will instead bring you glass bottles of water for a couple euro apiece. You can either choose between acqua naturale, meaning mineral water, or acqua frizzante, meaning sparkling water, depending on your tastes. For Americans, dining in an Italian restaurant can feel expensive because of the couple euro charge you get every time you order a glass bottle of water. But at the end, it usually ends up balancing out because in Italy, you have to remember that there's almost never a tip. Outside of restaurants, many Italian families even buy 2-liter water bottles for their homes and drink those instead of using the tap. While it was pretty easy for me to adjust to using glass bottles in restaurants, as an environmentalist, it was always hard to adjust to using plastic bottles at people's houses. The next culture shock that I experienced in Italy was the price of cellular data. On my second trip to Italy, I went to a cell store because I needed to get a prepaid SIM for my phone. I walked in fully expecting to pay a fortune, but the shopkeeper told me that it only cost me about 20 euro for 40 gigs of data. I was completely astonished because in America, we're used to paying astronomical fees for our cellular service. I later learned that Italy is one of the cheapest countries in the world for mobile data. According to the Visual Capitalist, 1 gig of data in Italy averages to be about 43 cents, making it the 4th cheapest country in the world. Another thing that shocked me about Italy was how strange the bathrooms can be. During my first trip to Italy, I was eating at a restaurant near the Trevi Fountain and decided I need to go to the bathroom. So, I went up to the owner of the restaurant and asked her where it was, and she pointed towards the door in the back. I walked over, opened the door, and then completely freaked out when I saw an old Italian woman washing her hands in the sink. I returned to the owner, asked her if that was in fact the men's bathroom, and she looked at me like I was stupid. So, after I saw the old woman leave, I went back into the bathroom for a second time. Looking around, I was surprised to see a men's toilet locked behind a door to the left and a woman's toilet locked behind a door to the right, something I'd never seen before in America. Another thing that really shocked me in Italy was actually the vending machines. There were vending machines everywhere, selling snacks, beverages, coffee, condoms, and more. In some urban areas, you can find automated vending shops made up completely of vending machines. I even saw some vending machines selling cigarettes and beer. These vending machines required you to input an ID to verify that you're of legal drinking age, although I'd question how effective that method was, since on numerous occasions I saw kids that looked no older than 13 years old using them. And that leads me into my next culture shock, the Italian drinking culture. In Italy, the drinking age is 16 for beer and wine and 18 for liquor. In reality though, these rules are not strictly enforced, and it's common for bars and stores to not even check IDs. Overall, Italians have a much healthier relationship with alcohol. Wine is an essential part of Italian cuisine, but yet, binge drinking is completely frowned upon. Alright guys, that wraps up for today's video. Thank you for watching, and let me know in the comments what are some of the culture shocks that you've experienced in your own life. Don't forget to subscribe and click on the notification bell so that you don't miss any videos about language and travel. Thanks again and see you soon.